final quarter begins right now.
And welcome into the final quarter here on CBS 8+. That is Karthik Venkatraman. I am Jake Garriani. Karthik, what a time to have this show. What a series that just concluded between the Padres and Dodgers. A tense series that had all kinds of things going on. Fans are going crazy all over the place. People are getting hit left and right. People are getting ejected left and right. Typical Padres-Dodgers, huh?
Hey, and now we maybe don't have to talk so much about how the Padres lost 3 of 4. And
No
we can
kidding.
talk more about all the craziness that happened. I just don't know where to begin. It was just kind of wacky from the beginning, in which Andy Pages got hit by Dylan Cease, starts yelling at Dylan Cease, and Dylan Cease is like, man, I don't know what to tell you. I didn't do it on purpose. But that kind of felt like that's where everything kind of escalated for me. And then from there, it was just like Pandora's box open as guys after guys got hit, like Fernando Tatis Jr. getting hit, then Shohei Ohtani getting hit in retaliation, Dave Roberts getting ejected, Fernando Tatis getting hit again yesterday. And that's what really caused the benches to clear, Dave Roberts to shove Mike Shildt. And then Ohtani gets hit one more time. Luckily, the benches don't clear on that one. But, man, Jake, I don't know. What, just crazy, just wild. I was listening to the game on the radio yesterday, and I was just like, what is absolutely going on in Los Angeles right now?
I mean, wild indeed. This series was something, and it had a lot of people fired up for a lot of good reasons, whether intentional, non-intentional. Look, a lot of people, big-time superstars, got hit in this series. Look at Ohtani right there, hit multiple times. And let's be honest, the two that hit Ohtani were probably intentional, and there were others you could argue were very intentional as well. This series was two bitter rivals that do not like each other going at it. And then things really got frustrating, I think, in that series finale on Thursday when Mike Shildt had enough with Fernando Tatis Jr. getting hit, which, by the way, Tatis has been hit 3 times in 7 games this season by the Dodgers. That is, the math adds up right there, right? So Shildt has just had enough. He runs out there, and then Dave Roberts continues to escalate a situation and continues to escalate a situation. And it's getting frustrating for me with Dave Roberts. I've heard wonderful things about Dave. He seems like he's a great guy off the diamond. But this series brings out what feels like the worst in him, in my opinion. This tough guy act that he's pulled off on multiple managers, mind you, here in San Diego. He also shoved Andy Green. He's now shoved Mike Shildt. He's gotten ejected. The whole sinister sling thing last year in the postseason, everything about that guy, which, by the way, he admitted to pouring fuel on that fire, seems to want to escalate this situation with the San Diego Padres. And frankly, it's getting frustrating, Karthik.
It's a tired act, man. To me, it's just like, okay, in the first game in which he got ejected in this specific series, we'll just start there because we can go through a litany of history, but let's just start here of just this series. The first time you get ejected, both sides have been warned. The ump said, don't come out of your dugouts. One manager on one side, and Mike Shildt, chose not to come out because he was told not to. The other one decided to storm straight out of his dugout. Then he gets ejected, and then he continues to just ramble on at the umps about a situation that is the situation. Both teams were warned. It is what it is. Call it from that point. Instead, he decides to go. Okay, that's step number 1. Step number 2 yesterday is what I think irritates me the most about what Dave Roberts did yesterday is like, okay, fine. He thinks Jack Little didn't intentionally hit Fernando Tatis
And he's probably
Jr.
right on that one.
And he's probably
But
right.
you're still hitting him.
And then if Mike Shildt comes out at you and is like, why are you guys doing this? Which Mike Shildt's probably fed up of how many times the Dodgers throw inside on Fernando Tatis Jr. And, you know, if a guy's getting hit that often, you mentioned 3 times in 7 games, that's risk for injury. And the last one yesterday was pretty scary, right on the wrist. That's the kind of things that you break bones on. Luckily, the x-rays were negative. The CT scan is still TBD at the time in which we record this. My point being is, like, if Mike Shildt's coming at you, and if you're in your mind, based off what he said in the press conference, is it wasn't intentional, why would you're spoking the fire. You don't shove the other manager. You just say, hey, Mike, that wasn't intentional. We didn't mean to. Calm the situation down. Don't charge back at him, shove him with a forearm shiver, and then continue to berate and keep going after the Padres over and over and over again after that situation happens. If it was unintentional, I feel like any I don't want to say sane because I'm not calling Dave Roberts an insane person, but any logical person, I guess, in this situation would be like, hey, man, that wasn't intentional. Let's leave it where it is. I understand the bench is clear. Let's calm this situation down and get back to baseball. What does he do? He throws the forearm straight at Adams, jawing at him the whole entire time and continuing to make the situation way worse than what it probably should have been if it was unintentional. If it's unintentional, what are we even talking about? What are we even talking about?
I said this on social media. Again, I think the guy is probably a good human being. It's just such a fake tough guy act at this point, and it's really, really frustrating. Now, at the same time, I don't want to just sit here and rail on Dave Roberts and Doc and just not talk about the full situation. And the full situation is baseball was played. And before we get to the baseball, shout out to Shohei Ohtani, who, by the way, remains the classiest of all class acts. He gets drilled by Robert Suarez by 100 miles an hour. He says, stay in the dugout. Stay in the dugout. I'm going down to first. I don't know. I get people don't like Shohei because he plays for the Dodgers, but I don't know how you don't like Shohei because he's just a class act. And multiple ejections came from that. Suarez ejected. But as for the baseball, at the end of the day, the Dodgers won 3 out of 4. The Dodgers have won 5 out of 7 already. They've bullied around the Padres for the most part on the diamond. And that part needs to be discussed as well. But before we get to that, I do want to let you hear from manager Mike Shildt, who is pretty much summarizing everything we just did.
I'd like to think not, but I can't say that. Only a couple people know that. And whether it was or it wasn't, enough is enough. You know, we got a guy that's getting x-rays right now. It's one of the best players in the game, of course, on our team. And this guy's has taken shots, okay? And before this series, you know, and I can back this up with complete evidence, you know, track records speak for themselves. Teams that I manage don't get into altercations like this because teams I manage don't throw at people. But also teams I manage don't take anything. And after a while, I'm not going to take it. And I'm not going to take it on behalf of Toddy. I'm not going to take it on behalf of our team, intentional or unintentional. It's really that simple. That's how this game's played. And you want to call that old school, then yeah, we'll play old school baseball.
It's honestly my favorite. I've heard Mike Shildt say a million things in my career as a journalist here in San Diego. It's my favorite thing he said because he does a perfect job of summarizing how I think a lot of people felt about this whole situation here in San Diego, where it is. It's like enough is enough, intentional or not. Quit throwing or hitting our players with baseballs and quit escalating these situations. Now, to be fair, journalists, you and I both heard what Dave Roberts had to say, and he said, look, it wasn't intentional. The one the Jack Little pitch that hit Fernando Tatis Jr. and Karthik, I truly believe that it wasn't intentional. That doesn't change what Mike just had to say.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like, it's just like, you know, at a certain point, like when you hit the guy 3 games in 7 series, you're cutting a little too close. You're pitching way too far inside. And, you know, I don't really think it's a coincidence. Tatis is not a guy that just takes him to. Like, he oftentimes, if you watch him, like, if he's about to get hit, he tries and does a good job of, like, avoiding getting hit. It's not like he's just taking these, and that's why the frequency has gone up.
He doesn't get hit by a lot of pitches each year. He really doesn't. The fact that the Dodgers seem to be the only one hitting him is absurd.
It's at that point, it's just, you know, unintentional, intentional. Maybe don't, you know, throw a rookie pitcher out there and maybe have a guy that comes out there with a little more control to not escalate a situation. I don't know what you do there. But, you know, to me, I understand why Mike Shildt's mad. You know, Dave Roberts, based off of what he said, if he's saying that it's unintentional, he didn't like the way Mike Shildt came at him because it was unintentional, and that's why he got mad. I think at the end of the day, for me, that's fine if both guys feel that way. There's a better way to discuss it than one guy throwing a shiver at the other guy. That's how I feel about it.
They'll play again later this year, and it will be wildly interesting. Let's talk about some of the baseball that did take place. And again, a frustrating series, just like the first 3 against LA, where this was a very, very frustrating series. We can't look past the fact, because of all these fireworks, that the Padres did lose 3 of 4, like I said a minute ago. And it's just like you salvaged that one, which, by the way, got a little bit dicey there at the end. But the first 3 games, Karthik, you and I were texting each other over and over. It's like we were watching a movie. Early Padres lead, blow it, can't get back in the game. It was so frustrating.
I felt for the first 3 nights I watched the same movie over and over and over again. And that third game of that series really reminded me of that Brewers game in which, you know, they got down 3-1, they tied up 3-3, and then a walk-off home run, and the bottom of the 9th ended up being the difference. The Padres have played so many close games, as of recent, so many one-run games, especially in this last week and a half. It feels like a lot of those games have just really come down to the wire, with a walk-off loss to the Brewers, a walk-off loss to the Diamondbacks, a walk-off loss to the Dodgers, including, it wasn't a walk-off loss, but a close loss to the Dodgers at home as well. And that's just, microscope of, what happened before that. They played the Giants in some close games. So, Padres are playing a lot of close games right now. And unfortunately for them, and what was a great chance for them to make up ground in the division race, they lost a lot of close games, and that's really tough. And, so far, I don't want to put here's the nail in the coffin type deal on the Padres, but, I'm not really worried about the Padres getting offense against the Dodgers as of right now. I mean, the Dodgers are, presumably going to get back a lot of pitchers, and then we'll see kind of what they look like down as we get closer to, fall baseball. But, the next time they meet them in October, you got to win these close games, and you can't it's easier said than done, right? You can't let the Dodgers score that many on you, but the way that the Dodgers has just been able to flourish, even last night, they were up 5-0 going into the bottom of the ninth, and all of a sudden, I'm just sitting there. I'm not a Padres fan. I'm a Guardians fan, as Jake, you're well aware of, but I'm feeling uneasy for the Padres because all of a sudden it just feels like the Dodgers are getting this momentum upon momentum, and I'm feeling uneasy for a team that I don't root for, but obviously I do cover, and it's just like, the Dodgers have that offensive output, but you count on these guys like Suarez to come in, close out games for you. You count on guys to come in there and pitch for you and close out these games, but it really just hasn't been the case. And the Dodgers have been able to come back even with the Padres getting leads, and it caused them to lose 3 or 4 in a series. It felt like they really could have maybe made some ground up.
I thought the biggest category when you looked at the NL West standings there was the Padres' last 10. They have been 3-7. Of course, we talked about how difficult June was going to be. They just went through the gauntlet of it and didn't perform overly well. We just said tread water, tread water, tread water. Well, they're losing ground. They're now 5 games back. And the reality of the situation is the Dodgers are still beating up on the Padres. And all this talk, all this, hey, why is your manager acting like that, or this and that, and all this back and forth, none of it really matters when you can't beat the team that you need to beat. And as much as people want to talk bad about the Dodgers, and I understand a lot of it, look, right now they're beating up on the Padres. That's the end of the story. So until they can figure that out, we'll see what happens. Now, if you remember back, Karthik, to when the Padres did beat the Dodgers in the postseason, they did not play well against them in the regular season at all. And then the year the Padres lost to the Dodgers in the postseason, they really dominated them in the season series. So, hey, maybe it's a sign that the Padres will just not play well against them in the regular season and then go get them in the postseason. Let's take a look at what's coming up here for the San Diego Padres. They are back home against the Royals for 3, and then the Nationals for another 3. Those are 6 winnable games for the San Diego Padres at home against kind of those middle, and the Nationals are reeling, dude. That's a really bad baseball team right now.
They've had a tough one against the Rockies, man, and that says it all. That's all you need to know.
They've lost like 1 million games in a row. The Nationals are just in a rough spot. But 6 winnable games, then a nice day off. You hit the road. The Reds are beatable. Like, all of a sudden, there's a breath in this schedule.
There better be a breath in the schedule, man.
And you sure hope.
They got to find some wins.
Yeah, and they need to find those wins. Hopefully, they can find them with that upcoming schedule.
And with Xander Bogaerts obviously playing the way he is right now.
4 for 4. Nobody's happy. Look, honestly, actually,
we're not getting past this without talking about my
man. I'm very happy for Xander. You felt so bad for him on the Game 3 night when Will Smith hit the walk-off because he had that clutch double.
Yep.
I mean, I said it on air when I was reading the highlights that night. He lifted the weight of the Padre world off of him with that one swing. Next day comes out, goes 4 for 4.
With a solo home run.
With a solo home run. So good to see Xander. I mean, the Xander talk.
Let's get it. Give it to you, man. Come on.
There's going to be one other thing not to look past, by the way, while we're on the topic of just shout-outs. How about Ryan Bergert?
Yeah.
I mean, he continues to throw the ball really well. He deserves his flowers. There's going to be a lot that we miss in this series because of how it all went down with all the drama. But there's some positives from it. I mean, the few, and I would talk about Xander hopefully being one, and definitely Ryan Bergert. But the Padres got some winnable games coming up, and hopefully they're able to take care of that business as we head towards that All-Star break. If they can kind of still be in that race, near that division lead, Karthik, by the All-Star break, I think Padre fans should be feeling pretty good because at the beginning of the year, I don't think people thought that was possible. By July, to be within 2, 3, 4 games of the Dodgers.
And last year they turned up after the All-Star break. Maybe they do it again and they get hot at the right time, which is all that matters in baseball.
Let's completely switch gears now and talk about the world of football because, get this, This time next month, 32 teams will be in training camp, man. That is how close
the preseason's almost upon us,
to
man.
the NFL. Dude, late next month, the preseason begins at the Hall of Fame game with the Los Angeles Chargers. It's crazy that football is here. And say what you want about the Chargers, we get it. But look, numbers tell us people are watching one way or another, and we got the opportunity to catch up with those Chargers. Take a peek.
Okay, let's get it.
I am a San Diego Charger. Just so we clear.
We just got to get good. We just got to get really good at football.
They got to get that bust of you, right, for your Hall of Fame
Yeah,
play?
yeah, they've been working on it, man. They got to get this head, man. They're just trying to shape this head. I don't know if they got enough glue and clay and stuff to get this stuff going on, man.
I literally went up to him to practice the other day and said, run to the right side. Like, that's your side. If that's your moneymaker, if that's what you want to win, come to that right side.
I know I believe in what Coach got going on, and I'm pretty sure the guys that, just joined this team, they're going to find out.
I never really looked at myself as a fifth-round pick.
I mean, it's been a dream. Kind of still feels surreal, each and every day you walk into the building, you just look up and you see the name that you representing now.
Dominate the game like we're supposed to.
All right, let me hit you with the hard-hitting questions now.
I like to cook. I like to build Legos.
How good are we in the gulag?
Hey, we're not going to the gulag.
Come on. What kind of dog did we get?
A toy poodle.
What poodle?
Toy poodle.
Toy poodle?
Yeah.
What is a toy poodle?
A poodle that's about this big. Yeah.
What's its name?
Nelly.
Nelly the toy poodle. All
Nelly
right.
the toy poodle.
Your choice or hers?
Her choice. Her choice. But I love her.
It's a great day to have a great day. Today, see if we can't get better today than we were yesterday, and see if we can't be better tomorrow than we were today. I mean, I know it sounds so simple that it just might work.
This guy is corny.
John, if you weren't recording, I'm about to lose it.
I know, like, a lot of guys remember that feeling, remember how it felt walking out the field, even in the locker room after Houston. I know that's something that guys don't want to feel again.
If you want to be the best, you got to beat the best.
I feel like we're building something really special here.
They seeing this right now? Is this live is recorded?
Football is here. That was just 2 minutes of what is a 45-minute Chargers special that we have streaming right now on CBS 8 Plus, likely where you're watching us right now. So when you're done watching this, don't go now. But when you're done watching this, click on over and catch up with the LA Chargers. Folks, I understand where we're at in this climate, in this world with the Chargers, but it was great to catch up with them. And look, 45 minutes of talking with all those fellas. Karthik, what stood out to you?
Yeah, Antonio Gates getting to catch up with them as he's getting ready to go to the Hall of Fame. I know he's not a current Charger, but hey, a San Diego Charger, no doubt about it. Is what he said, man. And Deion Henley, man, I mean, what an absolute riot he was. You saw a couple of clips of him just in there, just absolute electricity every time that guy speaks. I watched a little bit again. Obviously I lived it, but I was like, hey, man, let's see how this turned out. And I was watching it this morning. Man, it's a lot of good content. That's not me being biased. It's just a lot of fun interviews with a lot of fun guys. A lot of good conversation.
It was a blast to get up there, and it's just exciting to have the NFL kind of on the doorstep, coming closer and closer. And so just looking forward to it again. That is a Charger special streaming on CBS 8 Plus. 45 minutes of catching up with the team. We talk obviously to Coach, a bunch of guys you saw there, the Hall of Famer. Charger fans, there you go. Those that dislike the Chargers, we've heard you. It's all good.
Still there you go.
And still there you go. We've heard you. All right, let's go from the gridiron to the NBA, the hardwood. Karthik, we thought maybe for a moment we would be talking about the Oklahoma City Thunder hoisting the Larry O'Brien trophy on this day. Instead, the Pacers, with a hobbled Tyrese Halliburton, put on one heck of a performance. Fell behind. We were watching this game together. Fell behind early in that game. And then they turned on the boosters, bro, and they did not look back.
Yeah, that second quarter, they just laid it on them. I think for me, it's good for the Pacers, but this is something we knew about him, right? Even if Tyrese Halliburton is hobbled, that team is so much more than just Tyrese Halliburton, which is why when, he has those games where he struggles, doesn't play as well, they're still in the game because they got guys like Pascal Siakam, Obi Toppin's been playing great, Miles Turner's been playing great, TJ McConnell, Benedict Mathurin. TJ McConnell, man, I'm telling you, I say this kind of jokingly, but not really. He should get Finals MVP if they win the whole entire thing because he's just been that good and meant so much for them winning games, getting them those extra possessions. But, I mean, the Pacers Pacers are a fantastic basketball team. Once again, showed it yesterday, showed a lot of defensive effort. Obviously, the Thunder feel very irritated at the way that they played, and, you know, they'll have Game 7 on their home floor to try and figure this one out. But, you know, I was a little nervous about my Pacers in 7 prediction before we started this thing, but I'm back in it now, baby.
it was a really impressive performance. I thought they were done. I really did. You and I were talking before the game. I said, even if Tyrese plays, you know, maybe they get a little spark at being at home, but I think OKC can put him away. And the Pacers came out and played a wonderful, wonderful basketball game. Rick Carlisle is just a great coach. And I think he's really shown in these playoffs why he is a great coach. Now they force that Game 7. That'll be Sunday. Do they have the juice? That's my thing, is like, I think they've worked so hard to get to 7. I see Oklahoma City just kind of putting their foot on the throat and stomping down here.
It would be, you know, the thing that would be to be expected, because they're at home. They're probably going to be pretty mad because of this way this last game went. And, you know, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, here's a moment for him. We're talking about a guy that really could have, I mean, he's already building himself a Hall of Fame career just off of just the season he had this year. But, I mean, he could really stamp himself as, you know, maybe starting building that resume when we're talking, you know, down in the future, all-time greats. If he can get this championship done, plus the MVP type of season that he had and the numbers he put up, could be a great way to start off that sort of campaign for a very long future for him to come. And, you know, a dynasty that could very well be in the making with Oklahoma City. You know, that's going to be a huge game for both of those teams, obviously. But, you know, Oklahoma City, they have it right on their fingertips, and they have the best player in the league. You'd have to lean to them, but I got to stick with my prediction. I got to go Pacers in 7, man. That's what I stuck with.
A loyal man. I like it. A champion will be crowned in the NBA on Sunday. A champion has already been crowned in the NHL. The Florida Panthers do it once again. You think back to Game 1 of this series and you go, Edmonton may finally get over that hump. Edmonton might do it. And Florida pretty much just ran roughshod, it felt like, the rest of the way. Just too good. The Florida Panthers, you want to talk about building a dynasty, man. 3 straight Stanley Cup finals they've been to. They've now won back-to-back Stanley Cups, the first team to do that since the Tampa Bay Lightning won 2 straight until the Colorado Avalanche beat them, no big deal. And the Florida Panthers, man, they're just a wagon, and they showed it. Guys like Sergei Bobrovsky, I mean, Sam Reinhart with a 4-piece. Yep. A 4-piece to hoist the Stanley Cup. I mean,
and Marchand lit it up in that series.
Marchand, what an acquisition that was. And just Sam Bennett. I mean, gosh, it was impressive. And what Florida has done from a roster perspective to everything they've accomplished, I think in my heart I wanted Edmonton to win it, but Florida's just built too well, man.
Yeah, I mean, dynasty in the making, kind of like what you said. You know, I kind of felt like after they were able to split on the road to start this series, and then the way they played in Game 3, that the series was probably theirs for them to take. Now, whether they would take it or not was really up to them. And then, you know, that other game happened where it went to overtime and Edmonton won, and I said, okay, hold your horses. But then, you know, the Panthers really shut the door on this one and really closed it out. Very strong. Mauricio was asked, you know, after the Stanley Cup Finals was over, what does it feel like the morning of you're going to win this? You have the chance to win the Stanley Cup Finals, and he goes, I think you asked me that 4 times last year because of the way that they blew
after
the lead.
They blew their 3.
And he looked at the reporter and he goes, it feels good. It's just like, it's one of those things that it's just cool for them to see it get it done again. I'm always a big fan of dynasties getting built and the way that those things go, because those are the things we remember as sports fans, right? Yeah. Who was the best? And, you know, when you have a team that wins a couple in a few years and, you know, very, very possible they win again next year or the year after that too, they're built for it. So, you know, dynasty in the making, and it's something we won't forget, that's for sure.
And now you look at Edmonton too. I don't want to get too deep in the weeds on the Oilers. I know we're not a huge Oiler city or anything like that, but man, this could be the end of their run, depending on what happens with a lot of their situations. But congratulations to the Florida Panthers, Sergei Bobrovsky, that whole squad, just back-to-back Stanley Cup champs. Now they get a party for about, I don't know, 100-something days before getting back to work. So great for them. Let's talk on the pitch. SDFC doing their thing. They got back to some MLS action, and they beat Minnesota, which was a really good game, Karthik, a 4-2 win for SDFC. And then they have a huge match coming up. We'll talk about that in a minute. But just seeing them after the break, getting back to MLS play, it was impressive stuff. They continue to do impressive things.
Yeah, other than that first.
Other than that goal, it was bad. The words were coming out of my mouth.
This one was beautiful.
Anders Dreyer from deep.
That was good. No, you know, this team completely continues to impress me. They've made the adjustments as the season have gone on from where maybe some of their weak points are. They continue to press teams. In that game, they were down Luka De La Torre Torre, no Alnabal Godoy, didn't have Chucky Lozano, played the team that was tied with them in points in the table, and what did they do? They went out there and, minus that hiccup really at the beginning, they really put the foot down on Minnesota. And I got to shout out Milana Lasky. And if San Diego FC is not working to get this guy off of loan and get this guy a full contract, I don't know what they're doing, because the guy says, whether I'm playing for the MLS, whether I'm in an exhibition match against Club America, I don't give a damn, more or less. Give me the goals. And that's exactly what he's been doing. He's been impressive. The Escondido native, they got to find a way to sign him. But hey, San Diego FC, really impressive, and a big chance coming up here soon for them to take the top of the table, Jake.
Yeah, I mean, look, we feel like a broken record every time we talk about this franchise, but just credit to them, what they've done in year one. They got the third most, tied for the third most points in MLS. They're 10-5-3 on the year. I mean, to win 10 matches already, they've just been crazy impressive. And Karthik, you talk about that opportunity. Well, let's look at their next game coming up here. That would be against the Western Conference leading Vancouver Whitecaps. Man, I mean, they got to go up north of the border, play this team in their backyard, and try and take down the top table leading Vancouver Whitecaps. This ought to be one heck of a match.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a really interesting game. Both teams have been playing really well. Vancouver does a really good job of not letting people score goals. San Diego FC has done a really good job as of recent, definitely putting the ball in the back of the net. It should be a really fun one. That one, again, going to be a tough road test for San Diego FC, but they've shown a lot of resolve and gotten it done plenty of times this season, and that's going to be an exciting one, June 25th.
Yeah, that is June 25th. That'll be a fun one. And then when you talk about the women's side of the pitch, continued success again and again, feeling like a broken record. But the San Diego Wave continued to get things done. They had a nice victory over Houston, and then they get set to roll against the Washington Spirit this upcoming weekend. That one is going to be another interesting one, because that's just a team that's a single point behind them. I'd ask you what you think, but we could probably just keep replaying what we keep saying, because they continue to do what they're doing.
The Wave played really well in that game against Houston. Obviously, Houston not one of the better teams in the NWSL, but
one of the worst.
Yeah, correct. Get up 3. I was trying to put it nicely.
Yeah, no, I'll be candid.
They got up 3-0 in that game, and then a little bit of worrisome for the Wave there in the second half, allowing 2 goals in the 60th plus minute there, and made it a tight game. They ended up closing it out. If there's any one thing for me, the creativeness, the goal scoring continues to be there for the San Diego Wave. Still a lot of young players on that team. Don't let teams come back in the game, especially teams at the bottom of the table. They'll be all right, though. Adriana Leon, how good has she been leading the team and scoring? She's been absolutely phenomenal. Kenza Dali scored a goal in that game. She's been phenomenal. Maria Sanchez scored a goal in that game. She's been good for this team. They've got a lot of very talented players. They're playing very good soccer, and that's why they're near the top of the table as well, Jake.
Yeah, third in the NWSL, and let's take a look at that matchup against Washington. That will be June 22nd right here in San Diego. An opportunity to pull a little bit away from the Spirit. Hopefully the San Diego Wave can do that in front of a lot of fun San Diego fans. We will be back next week to talk about how the Wave do and the rest of everything. Karthik, what's your thoughts on Dave Roberts? No,
here's my thoughts, man. JJ Spawn, come on, man. What in the U.S. Open? San Diego State graduate. How about that? 64-foot putt to seal the deal.
U.S. Open. Come on, Aztecs dominating
First major.
the golf game, man. Awesome stuff. Bye-bye.